Hello and welcome to Business Rendezvous, your ultimate breakfast business show where we'll bring you up to speed news and information in the world of business. I am Lawrence Osifo, your anchor, and it's a great delight to have you join me this beautiful Monday morning, the first edition of the show for the week, and the very last Monday before Christmas. Amazing. By next week, Monday, when I'll be here, it's going to be Christmas Day. I'll be here on the screen to give you news and information in the world of business. We're reaching you live from our Benin Network Center, South Nigeria, the heartbeat of the nation. Welcome. Now, this morning, we'll be looking into something very important for the citizens of Edo State. We'll be looking at the 2024 appropriation bill and budget estimate that was presented to the State House of Assembly by His Excellency Godwin in Obaseki, the Executive Governor of Edo State. And I have with me a very special and a big government official, the Honorable Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, who is already seated on SEC to look into the budget and what the citizens will be expecting from the budget. I have joining me this morning now the Honorable Commissioner J. Okofu Osilama. Good morning, Honorable Commissioner.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you on the show.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Okay. Now, before we go, let's see a breakdown of the budget. Let me read through a breakdown of the budget. Now, the Executive Governor of Edo State, Godwin in Obaseki, on the 5th of December, presented the budget estimate of 325.4 billion naira to the House of Assembly for the year 2024 to run with. And some of the breakdown include 19% at 62.8 billion naira for road infrastructure. That's for road infrastructure. The health, we get 10%, 32.3 billion naira. Education, we get 10% at 32.3 billion naira. Social welfare, 16 billion naira. Agriculture, youth and gender, environment and reforestation, 2% allocated to each from the budget estimate. Buildings, we get 7% at 21 billion naira. While the activities of government, we get 54 billion naira at 16% of the budget estimate. Now, so before we start, Honorable Commissioner, a budget, we all know, everybody runs with budget, both at home and in the government and all that. But I want you to throw more light on the government budget itself. What is it? Is it just a mere paper or it's something that's realistic?
Okay. I think, first of all, in defining what a budget is, a budget is a statement of intent.
Okay.
Like you rightly said, as individuals, as corporate entities, and even as government, we essentially need to step back at some point and say, okay, this is what I want to do at a particular period in time, right? And again, to essentially because these are what my resources are, okay? So in defining what a budget is, I mean, the statement of intent, it actually shows or encapsulates what the government wants to achieve at a particular point in time within the year, right? And it is, of course, driven by the resources available. All right? Okay. And usually the budget is broken down into the capital and recurrent expenditure. Capital by way of infrastructural development and things like that. Recurrent by way of, I mean, where you work, right? You earn.
You earn, absolutely.
A worker deserves his or her salary. So, but essentially, again, because we are an emerging economy, we're a frontier economy, the strategic focus is usually more on infrastructural development, which is where the capital expenditure goes into. So if you look at the breakdown, it's skewed more towards infrastructure because it is the pillar upon which future development is anchored, right? So that is it. So it's not just a mere paper. It's a statement of intent. And again, when you look at the trajectory of this governor and his government in the last 7 years, operations have been anchored or built on certain pillars.
Absolutely.
Economic development, social welfare, security, human capital development. The restructuring of the government infrastructure, the way things are done in government. That's a reform. So these are essentially what we will be doing in 2024 will be anchored upon. So it's not just
a paper. Because you know why I asked this question? A lot of persons are like, when the governor or the president goes to the chambers to present this, they just see a big paper, or rather a big box being presented. So the layman at home will be like, now your paper dey inside now. We need to really get everything started. That was why I had to start from there.
No, I agree. I understand. It's not just paper.
Okay, it's more than that.
Even if it's paper, I mean, the paper shows a breakdown
of something,
what is going to be done.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the paper itself is a document.
Okay.
A document that shows what will be given to health, security, education,
just like that.
And all that, right?
Okay.
So it's not just a mere paper. It's a statement of intent. And it is predicated upon the resources available to the government. And again, based on projections.
Okay.
This is what we project or estimate that we will get as a government within the 1 year time frame.
Yeah.
Our internally generated revenue, receivables from the federal government, FAC, support from partners, development partners, and things like that. So it's a total package of expectations, and deliverables. Okay.
So now let's look at the difference between 2023 appropriation and the budget and 2024. Now 2023 it was 321.4 billion naira. Now 2024 is 325.3 or 4 billion naira. So a little sum higher than it was for 2023. Now, what do we stand to expect and gain more? Because a lot of persons have been saying it does seem to be a civil service state where almost everybody who works here, some persons are within the government payroll. How will it really drive and affect the common man on the street? That woman that have a little shop in front of her house where she's selling pepper, tomato, onion, and all that. How will this budget estimate for 2024? Because at least the governors still have up to a year, not up to a year though, but let's say 10, 11 months, now till November 12th, 2024. Yeah. So between now and then, what from January now, in 2 weeks from today, we're already in January, how will this budget drive little businesses on the street?
Okay, I mean, that's a wonderful take. Now, let me just start off by saying that, the 2023 budget,
yes,
at the start of the year was, like you rightly pointed out,
321
billion. But what happened essentially was that at some point we did a review of performance to see how the budget was performing, which is very key and critical. It's something that has to be done. That's why I said it's a statement of intent. If your intentions at some point you realize that they're not gelling,
yeah.
I mean, a smart government will say, okay, fine.
Let's go
These
back
are the reasons why this is not happening, or maybe certain aspects are overperforming, while some are underperforming. So, I mean, the smart thing to do is to say, okay, maybe we need to move more resources to the areas that are performing well. While the laggards, we'll see what we can do about that. So what we did was to do a revision of the budget. We stepped back and said, okay, no, we're not going to meet this projection.
Yeah.
So it was revised to 280 billion, actually.
Okay, it was revised to 280 as
billion.
Against the 321. So that is
actually the
for 2023
budget.
Okay.
Right? Because a budget is not just, this is what I want to do. The level of performance that you attain, that you achieve, determines the level also by which your development partners will want to partner with you.
Absolutely.
People look at your budget and its performance and it's okay, they are doing well.
Yeah.
If you are striking 91% performance, that's good,
it's a pass mark. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so is 71.
But 71 is a pass.
91 looks better than
71.
Yeah, so,
but both of them are A's.
It gives people more confidence.
Yeah, more confidence.
You need to understand also that investors or possible investors are looking at the possibility of wanting to come in.
Yeah.
So depending on the performance of your budget, your current budget, and even historically too, they will decide whether to edge,
or
balk,
stay.
or plunge.
Okay. So when you say edge more plumb,
yeah, because
can you break it down? Okay,
they are waiting. Fine. If they are waiting, they are edging.
Okay.
They will keep waiting.
Okay,
right?
okay,
because
okay.
we are not sure. Uncertainty.
Yeah, uncertainty.
If they balk, it means, oh no, these guys are not serious.
Serious.
I'm not going to risk my resources.
Take it back.
But if they don't plunge, it means, okay, yeah, it's looking good. Let's invest.
Okay.
We want them to plunge.
Okay.
Okay. So now, to give deeper vent to your question. Now, if you benchmark the 2023 budget as it is right now,
yes,
and 2024, there's actually a 14.3% increase.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is actually anchored on the fact that we are looking at possibilities of the outlook for 2024. You know, looking at the national outlook, looks good.
Yeah.
With the removal of
subsidy,
more monies are retained by the federal government. So there's expectation that more money will
go to the states. Okay,
states,
okay.
You know,
and also to the oil producing state as well.
Increasing our IGR because
I was actually going there, but continue.
A lot of companies that had signed MOU with this government are now more confident, you know, investing. So that is the plunging.
Okay.
Okay. So, which means more money in circulation, more taxable revenue, which would spike our IGR. And I need to give kudos to the guys in the EDO State Internal Revenue Services, especially the chairman, John Osage. Himself and his team have been able to take our IGR from a paltry 2 billion naira to over 4 billion.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I had a conversation with him yesterday, and he said, we're looking at taking
it. Even take higher.
But we need to understand that, and I want to assure the EDO people that this government is not going to emasculate you. We are going to broaden the tax net. Okay. So it's not as if more money will come from the same sources, you know, which means squeezing them more. The tax net is going to be broadened because we know and do expect that a lot of new companies will come. So now, because again, like I said, the socioeconomic environment will be driven further. Yeah. You know, it means that the pepper seller, like you talked about, right? When there's more economic activity, it means more money, more disposable income, because a lot of the employment activity, there'll be more employment.
Absolutely.
Right? So people will be buying more pepper from her. From there, she would then graduate to selling pepper and tomato. And before you know it, she would then add onions. Then she becomes a corner shop owner. Yeah. You know, so, I mean, that is the way it goes. Okay. It's a function of economic activity, you know, is a function of what the disposable income is. And that, again, is a function of the level of employment, which, again, is dependent on the level of economic activity. Okay. So, as a government, we are looking at, you know, I mean, it's a snowballing effect, right? Okay. So, if as a government, we are driving a spike in economic activity, other things are definitely going to fall in place. Okay. And that is the way it works. You know, but one thing I just need to point out is this is not just a now thing. It's not a 2024 thing. Okay. It's something that has been there in the last 7 years. Yeah. You know, of this.
Because this is actually the last he is presenting as a governor, and the first to the 8th assembly.
It is, because it is, and that's why, I mean, it's Christened. Yeah.
Finishing home run and finishing strong.
You know, and usually, I mean, if you know what relays are, right?
Yeah.
The 4x4,
you know what it is.
You usually have the strongest legs first,
true,
and last. Yeah. Okay. So that if the number 2, number 3 drags
back a bit, the last person will actually help out.
So we're finishing strong. Okay. And this governor has put in place a very strong team. You know, I just talked about the chairman of the EDO Internal Revenue Services. Yeah. And I'm surrounded by smart commissioners as colleagues. Yeah. I mean, if you look at Uyi Malaka, for example.
Yeah, for example, arts, culture, tourism, and diaspora.
I even refer to her as the commissioner for aviation, even though as a state you don't have aviation ministry. Because what she has brought to that ministry, arts, culture, and tourism. Has to a very large extent helped to attract more
investors.
Not just investors in the aviation sector. If you look at, new airlines.
Yeah, United Nigeria just launched flights to Benin. I saw it recently. What that essentially means also too is, this route is the most expensive in Africa. Seriously?
Yes. It means 30 minutes flight and paying 180, 200 plus thousand naira. So with more of these airlines coming in. Competition is simple economics, right? Competition now sets in demand-supply factors, price, of course, which is good for the economy. So it's a whole lot.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So that is what we bring the team. You are only as good as the team. A budget is a statement of intent, but its execution is very fundamental, and it's again to the people that are going to execute the budget that matter. And the governor is surrounded himself is pretty smart. Essentially has his hands in everything. And then when you're not surrounded by smart people, even if you look at the digital economy space, the commissioner who just came on board too recently, has transformed that place. A whole lot is happening within that space. So these are the things you piece together, and they become, they gel into a whole. So I want to assure the people of Edo State that they are in for better times. We'll finish strong, right? We'll finish very strong. And a whole lot of all those MOUs. Right, are now going to come into place. Some of them already are operational. Look at the Osioma power plant. We started by signing up an MOU.
Yeah, absolutely, that's true.
So what that has done essentially around that axis, and even within the Benin Metropolis, has helped to increase the supply of
electricity generation.
Look at the ethanol plant at Ologbo. What does that do? Ethanol is used in the pharmaceutical and beverage. So you might start seeing situations where, because the raw material is present, so pharmaceutical companies like SmithKline Beecham, and they might even want to set shop here. And then maybe Nigeria, Benden Breweries that has gone comatose might be resuscitated, and some others might want to come. So there's a ripple effect, coming in. And yes, this government is going to round off in another 11 months. And we are hoping that there will be continuity somewhat along that same trajectory.
Okay. I don't really want to take much of your time, because I know as a government official, you should be attending to one or two things in your office.
No, this is equally important.
It is.
People need to know what their government is doing.
Exactly.
So I'm happy to be here. Don't rush me out of this.
I want to do that.
Keep me as long as you want. I don't have a problem. This is part of what my job entails.
Fine. All right. So now quickly, let's look at the breakdown of the capital and recurrent. 178 billion for capital expenditure, 176 billion for recurrent expenditure. What are we expecting from both ends, both capital and recurrent?
No, you already gave the breakdown. If you're looking at capital, that breakdown shows a 56%. Why the recurrent is
40 something thereabouts.
Okay, 54 to 46, respectively. Again, like I said during my intro, I said we're tending more. The capital expenditure is more, right? And that's because we understand that as an emerging and frontier economy, we need to put structures in place. Something I need to point out that is critical is the deployment of cables, right? All across the state, cables for internet connectivity, right? What that does essentially is it will help. This is the digital era, but you see, when people talk of infrastructural development, they focus more on roads, schools, and things.
But those are also important.
In fact, more important as far as I'm concerned.
They are also important.
This is the Google generation. So as a nation state, right, we need to, put those things in place so that we can catch up with what happens globally. Nigeria might be lacking as a nation in that, but Edo State, we operate as a nation state.
Okay.
You know, in a few years from now, Edo people will look back and say, Godwin Obaseki is the Lee Kuan Yew
of Nigeria, of Edo State.
Because I think if he had a larger space to operate in, he would have achieved some of the things that Lee achieved in.
All right, absolutely amazing. I'm actually getting sick there because of little time. I know I will still bring you back here when the budget has become an act by the House of Assembly. We'll still come back here to talk more and throw more light, like you said.
I'll be happy to.
Yeah, you will be back again. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you on the show this morning. Thank you very much. The Honorable Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning in Edo State, Okofu J. Osilama, with me on the show this morning to talk about the 2024 appropriation bill and budget estimates. A pleasure having you.